So we actually are going to get started in child's pose today. So bring the big toes to touch. Draw the knees as wide as feels comfortable. And then begin to reach the arms forward to the front of the mat. This is one of my favorite poses to get started in, mostly because it allows us to easily tune out the rest of the world, even sometimes with dogs in the room. And you start to come inward. So a space that we tend to not hang out in that often, mostly because we're busy living the lives that we live. But you start to arrive here on your mat in this space that you've created for the next few moments. If the low spine is feeling most of this pose, start to walk the knees a little closer together. You'll make a shelf for the belly and chest to rest. Take a breath in through the nose. Fill that space between the thighs as your chest and belly fill with air. And then exhale, let it go. Taking any tension or stale energy as you settle in. We've got a few more breaths here. Taking an opportunity to think about that idea of self-compassion. As I was saying earlier, it's pretty easy for us to be able to find compassion for others in the world, but we're usually rather hard on ourselves. So self-compassion looks like showing up on your yoga mat, taking a little time for yourself, a little time to breathe, to move, and to simply be. Take an inhale through your nose, maybe to the count of 3, 2, 1, and then you empty all the way, letting that exhale linger just a little longer. We're here for 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Fill all the way up, and then exhale, let it all go, sink a little deeper. Last inhale. Every breath in is the opportunity to expand and fill up with that fresh oxygen and energy. And every exhale is the opportunity to let go of anything that's no longer serving you, or any thoughts, emotions, or tension. Settle in here. You're going to slowly lift yourself up just enough that you can slide your right arm underneath your left. The palm will face up, and you'll land back on that right shoulder and right temple. So coming into a child's pose with a twist. You can keep the left arm exactly where it is, straight forward, or if you're ready for a little bit more of a twist, bring your left arm to your left thigh and then press down, slide your right shoulder further to the left. Breathe here. So expand through that left side body, all the way into the ribs, into the lower abdomen. And exhale, settle, soften. Slowly come back to center. Reach the left arm forward. Bring the right arm forward and then begin to slide that left arm back underneath the right. Palm faces up, left temple and shoulder to the mat. You can always stay right here. This might be enough, and that's okay. Showing yourself that self-compassion is partly knowing when to find the edge and stay. Otherwise, bring your right hand to the right thigh and then start to work yourself a little deeper into the twist. As always, breathe here. Inhales to fill up, to make space in the body. And exhales to surrender, to soften. Slowly come back to child's pose. Take your time. Reach your arms back forward. And then slowly rise up to a seat. So you'll be seated on the heels. You can draw the knees together if that feels a little bit better. But the tops of the feet should be down. If you've got something that you want to sit underneath your sit bones, you can. Lift the arms up overhead as you breathe in. And then exhale, reach the arms forward, hug belly to spine, and then round in through the chest. Inhale, lift the arms back up, open up, expand, lean a little back. Exhale, send the arms forward, rounded. One more, breathe in, lift up. Exhale to round. Keep your arms straight out in front of you, thumbs in line with shoulders, and cross at the wrists. Flip it so that palms come together, fingers interlace, and then reach your fist forward, draw your chin to your chest. So here the sensation is between the shoulder blades. As you separate them, and then let the shoulders fall from the ears. Take a breath in. Allow yourself to stay for the exhale. Soften your jaw. Great job. Inhale, keep the fist as it is. Slowly separate by bending the elbows and lift the fist up towards the sky. Just feeling a little compression in the tops of the shoulders. Really, the fists between straight forward and all the way up to the sky works for me. Take one more breath in. Exhale, let the hands come down to the mat and meet me in tabletop. Bring your palms to the earth and then draw the knees right under the hips. Tops of the feet press down. Inhale to lift the tailbone up, come into cow pose. Collarbones lift up and out and your gaze is forward. Pause here. So we exhale, soften the elbows, draw the shoulder blades back a little bit more. Nice job. Breathe in, lift up through the crown of the head. Then as you exhale, tuck through the tail, puff up the spine as you draw the belly in, and then drop your head, cat pose. Same thing, breathe in, press a little heavier into the palms, lift the shoulders up. Exhale, drop your head. Move with breath 2 times. Breathe in, cow pose. What space can you find here as you lift up? Exhale to cat round, look to the thighs. Last one, breathe in, cow. Maybe you sip just a little bit of extra air as you lift, and then the exhale is to let it all go, empty out. Come into a neutral spine. You're going to bring your right leg out in front of the left. So you'll cross the legs. If you need to come forward a little bit and then bring it back, feel free. But your right thigh is now sitting on the left. Kick out the feet as far as they'll go and then begin to sit back and down, coming into those cow face legs. I'll turn so you can see what they look like. So the knees are somewhat stacked. If you've got a space between the knees, that's totally okay. Then begin to lift the arms up. Bring the right hand so it pats yourself on the back, and you should. You've had a long day. And then bring the left hand to the top of your right elbow. Yeah, so you look a little like this. You're working that right tricep towards the back of the head. Keep your chin off your chest. Get a little bit prouder in the spine, but not so much finding a back bend. Shoulders right over hips. If you want to find those full cow face arms, turn away so that you can see. Bring the left arm out to the side, palm face down, bend your elbow, and then either take a hold of the shirt, that's great, or begin to bring the fingers together. And you're leaning back into that right arm, nice strong core. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you have the opportunity to fold forward, hinge from your hips. Wherever you're at, we're here for one more breath. Last inhale here. Exhale, slowly rise back up. Release the arms. Come back forward and then meet back in tabletop. So unwrap the legs, knees under hips. I like to always sway the hips side to side here. Any organic movement that feels good. You know your body best, right? And then we'll switch to the other side. So bring the left leg out in front as much as you need to move to get there. Feel free. Then kick out the feet. Start to slide the hips back. Sit back down. Same thing. If you've got that space between the knees, feel free to adjust or add a block. Doesn't really matter too much. You'll feel the sensation. Lift the arms up overhead. This time, left hand to the back of the heart. Right hand to the top of the left elbow. Great job. You can stay, tighten in the core, so knit those low ribs in. Press the head back just a little bit so that you can lift your chin. Option to stay or to reach the right arm out, flip the palm away, thumb down, and then bend the elbow. It takes a hold of the shirt, or maybe you get there to the fingertips. Maybe today, maybe not. Take an inhale. Exhale to start to hinge from the hips, fold forward. Once you start to feel that big stretch to that left hip, you can pause there. You don't have to go super far. Take another breath in here. Exhale. Great job. Slowly rise back up, release the hands, reach them up to the sky, and then bring your arms back down to the mat. Unwrap the legs. Once again, shake it out if you need. And we'll meet in puppy pose. Begin to walk your hands forward. The difference between puppy and child is simply that hips are going to stay over the knees now, and then the chest will melt even more towards the earth. If you got there and you're like, I don't know, shoulders are screaming a little loud, that's okay. Walk your hands back. Hips can move a little back in space. But we want this to feel like it's not so much work, but the pose is doing it on its own. So allow the elbows to bend just a little bit as they walk themselves out to the sides of the mat. And then you let your heart melt towards the earth, breathing into that space. The space where self-compassion lives. And imagine the breath as it moves in and swirls around the heart. And then as it exhales, you let go of anything that's holding you back from 100% self-compassion. Take another breath in. Breath out. Slowly start to walk your hands back underneath you, rising up just enough that your palms are still in the mat, and then tuck your toes underneath you. Begin to lift the knees off of the earth and meet in downward facing dog. This will be the hardest pose of class, I promise. But we're just lengthening through through the legs here, left and right. Palms are heavy, and you're dropping the triceps towards the mat. So the shoulder blades separate. And if you like a little movement here, maybe pedal out the dog or walk the dog, feel free to bend the knees. Let the chest melt towards the thighs as you lift the hips up. Take 2 more breaths here. Every inhale to lengthen. And then every exhale to soften. Bring your right leg high behind you. Straighten out through the right leg and then bend your right knee. Open up through the hip. And here, if you like to make circles or you just need to make circles, you feel free. Anyway, or anything you need to do, just get into that hip joint, give it a little love. And then you'll just set the right foot back down and take it to the other side. Lift the left leg, same thing. Bend the left knee, let the left heel drop to the right glute. So you open up through the hips, roll. Take it in both directions if you'd like, hanging out in any spaces that scream a little louder. And then set it back down. Great job. Go ahead and lower to the knees. We'll meet in a seat, so swing the feet all the way around and extend the legs long in front of you. Feet should be about hip distance apart here. Reach the arms up, come up onto the sit bone. So you're really nice and tall, kind of in this capital L. As you exhale, hinge from your hips, start to reach forward. There will be a point where your calves and your hamstrings are like, that's it. Bring your hands down to the shins, and then I want you to bend the knees. See if you can reach a little bit more forward, grab the toes. Yeah, so you're still keeping that long spine and that big stretch through the legs. If you'd like to drop the chin to the chest to add on, you can. The challenge here, though, is in the body, not in the breath. So you continue to find those full inhales and exhales. And maybe over time, your body forms that mind-body connection And you lengthen the legs a little bit longer. One more breath here. Breath out. Great job. Slowly rise back up. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So coming into butterfly pose. The closer your heels are towards your hips, the more you'll feel this on the insides of the legs. So if that's a space you find that's really tight, feel free to draw them about as close as they want to go. The further away, somewhere in between, as close as you can go and then not really having them together, you feel it on the back sides of the hips. So kind of play around. There is a sweet spot. Hand comes to the shins. Same thing. Lift up through the heart, come up onto the sit bones, and hinge from the hips as you lead with the heart. Fold forward. And once again, there will be a space that your body naturally stops. Perfectly okay. Pause there. Maybe you bring the hands out and then you watch that connection of the mind and body happen. Because over time, the chest will start to melt down a little bit more to the earth. Maybe you close the eyes or you draw the chin back into the chest. Knowing that there is no right or wrong way to do this pose. And it doesn't have to look any one way or feel any one way. And that what you're doing is enough. Just simply being here and breathing. Last breath in. Breath out. Slowly rise up. Use your hands if you need to help draw the knees together. And then let the legs come back long onto the mat, about hip distance once again. Bring your hands behind you so they're a little bit further back than where your shoulders are. Fingertips face towards the hips. Press down into the palms and then begin to lift up through the heart as you draw the shoulder blades together. So coming into a little bit of a back bend, but notice if you've locked the elbows out, you're going to feel most of it in the biceps. So keep a little bit of a bend in the elbows and then wrap the shoulders a little bit more. You can always let the chin lift up to the sky, but only if that feels okay. Allowing the head to fall back can feel a little vulnerable, so take care of yourself. Know what it is that you need. But here you're exposing your heart. Allowing the breath to fill up that space. To fill up the cup of self-compassion, to give yourself a little bit of kindness and love that you so often give others. Take one more breath in here. Stay for the exhale. And then inhale, slowly lift back up. Reach your arms forward, thumbs up, and just round. Simply counteract that pose with whatever it is you need. Slowly release your hands down and then bring your right knee in towards the chest. So right foot's coming in towards your hip. You can keep it here. If you're already feeling sensation in that right hip, stay here. Otherwise, bring it to the outside of the left thigh, coming into a seated twist. Lift the arms up towards the sky, again on those sit bones, so keep that spine long. The exhale is to twist to the right. Bring your right hand behind you, left hand to your knee, or maybe you hug the leg in today. Keep the fingertips of the right hand back so your shoulder's opening, and then take your gaze over your right shoulder. Breathe. Crown of the head tall. Nice big twist here as you work the left ribs to the right leg. Breathing in energy and love. And exhaling any negative thoughts or emotions here. Come back through center. Drop the right knee. So you're coming into a seated figure four. The right ankle will stay on top of the left thigh, usually about an inch or two above that left knee joint. Start to lean back enough. You can bring your hands to the mat. Plant the left foot and start to slide the left foot in. If you are here with the left leg long and you're like, that's enough, I want you to stay there. You can always fold forward. Otherwise, start to lean back and then press the right knee away. So you don't have to physically do it with the right hand, but it's the action that the right knee is moving away. And then the more you press the chest towards the thigh, the more you'll feel. And then there's always room to adjust. So every body is different. So if you notice you need more, drop it over to the left about 3 inches. Or drop the chin to the chest. And if you need less, come out of the pose. You've got a couple breaths here. Almost done moving and going to find a little bit of stillness. Slowly release out of this pose by extending the leg long, and then the right leg comes beside it. Feel free to shake the legs out. It always can feel nice. And then draw the left foot in. So same thing, other side. Left heel comes in towards that left glute, or you step it to the outside of the right thigh. Once again, up onto the sit bones, so you stay proud in the heart, and then lift your arms up overhead. Twist to the left, right arm either wraps or maybe on top of the knee. Left hand back. Look back. Breathe here. So twists are a great way to move the spine, allowing a little bit more space, adding a little compression in the side bodies, and then opening up through the opposite side. Another breath here. Slowly come back through center. Drop the left knee, keeping the left ankle on top of the right thigh, coming into that seated figure 4 once again. Start to lean back, plant the right foot anywhere in between, as far forward as you want or all the way down. And same thing, work the shin of the left leg so it's about parallel towards the mat or perpendicular towards the mat. One of those two. And then press the chest forward. Maybe you drop the chin. Dropping the left knee away. Again, you don't have to press it, but it's that action that it's moving down, and you should feel a little bit more. Hips are always really tight, so take what you need. Leave the rest. Few breaths here. Can you soften your jaw? Maybe let the eyes closed. One more inhale. Exhale. Slowly release out of it. Extend the legs long. Draw the legs all the way down to the mat. And then slowly lower yourself all the way down, coming onto your back. And then draw the knees in towards the chest, taking your time. Sometimes we get here and it just feels good to make circles on the low spine. So if that's you, I encourage you to listen, respond. And then you'll keep the right leg close, then let the left leg fall long onto the mat. Left toes will face up towards the sky first. We're going to get into the piriformis here. So bring that right knee up towards the left shoulder. Your hip will lift just a little bit, your right hip, as you hug that right leg in. You'll start to feel it right there along that butt bone, basically, where you kind of sit, where we were working earlier. And if you've got to play around by bringing the right knee a little to the left, feel free. So this is your yoga practice. I'm here for suggestions, so if there's something that feels good, listen. Your body is constantly giving you feedback. Take the time to listen and then respond. Bring the right knee wide outside of the right ribs and hug it in towards the right shoulder. Flex your left toes back towards your knee and then press through the left heel. So here, lengthening the inseams of the legs as you hug in. Breathe in. You should feel pretty active. As you exhale, twist over, dropping the right knee to the left, coming up onto the left hip. So generally we do have to shimmy, so the left hip comes right underneath the right. Feel free to let the arms come out to a T and then take your gaze over the right shoulder. here for a few breaths, starting to quiet the mind. Practice slows down and then the mind wants to speed up. So keep a hold of the breath. It's the best connection to the body. Come back through center, take your time, draw your left knee in to meet your right. Extend the right leg back long, keeping the left knee close. And we stretch the same thing as the other side. So drawing the left knee towards the right shoulder, pressing the left hip away, and then lifting the left hip up just a little bit. Take a couple breaths here. Hug in as much as you need. And then start to draw the left knee wide outside of the ribs. Flex through the right toes. Press through the right heel. Take an inhale. And exhale, twist. Left knee crosses over, coming onto that right hip. Left foot may touch the mat. The left knee doesn't have to. And then tee out the arms and take your gaze to the left. Your shoulders stay grounded. Few moments here to breathe. To feel the breath as it moves through the body on this side. Noticing differences and similarities to the other. Nothing right or wrong about it. And then begin to make your way back through center. Gently draw both knees in towards the chest and wrap your forearms around your shins. And without going anywhere quite yet, take an inhale through your nose. Fill all the way up, and then exhale, let it go. On your next breath in, draw your forehead to your knees, and your knees to your forehead. Give yourself a squeeze. Thank yourself for showing up. Thank your body for everything it has done, for everything that it will continue to do. Thank yourself for giving yourself a little bit of love. Squeeze every muscle that you have, and then exhale, let it all go to Shavasana. Let your arms and legs fall long and take up as much space as you'd like. I especially encourage that when you're in your own home, it just usually feels a little bit better to spread out. And you begin to surrender here. We'll take our meditation session lying down today, but if you'd like to find a comfortable seat, you can always do that, taking your time to get there. Otherwise, we'll stay here. Because it's not often in our lives that we just lay down and simply be. We're either sleeping, or watching TV, or on the phone, or the internet. So this is your opportunity to settle in. It is safe for you to let go, to surrender. Let the jaw be soft as the tongue falls from the roof of the mouth. And let your eyes begin to be a little heavier in their sockets as you release through the face. bring the awareness to your hands, to the palms as they face up to the sky. And once you're there, what is it that you notice? Maybe the air as it moves past the palm. Or it's the subtle buzz that you feel as the energy flows through you. And you trace that buzz up through the forearms, past the elbows, up through the biceps and the shoulders, and then down into the heart. A space that with every breath fills up and lets go. Just like you do. It's here where that self-compassion lies. And it's simple. You are human. And humans are beautiful and flawed and imperfect, but they're human. And that's you. And it's just that. And you find kindness in that space, knowing that you do the best that you can with what you have. And you continue to show yourself that love. And you notice how that feels. You notice that buzz of love as it moves through your body, as it extends out from the heart down back into the legs and all the way to the feet. And you give yourself room for any mistakes or any reasons that the thoughts in the mind wander, but then you come right back to this space. No judgments, no negative feelings, just kindness and self-compassion. And then you fall a little deeper. And you learn what it's like to live in this space of endless love for yourself, for all that you do and all that you show up for. Slowly start to bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. Taking your time, there's no rush. And you feel that heartbeat beneath your hand and that breath move in your body beneath the other. Everything that you need is right there beneath those hands. And that this is always a space that you can come back to if you just make the space. Take a breath in, gather up all of that goodness, that love, that self-compassion and kindness. And then exhale, let it go, send it out into the world, share it with everyone you know. One more breath here. Slowly find a little movement in your fingers and in your toes. Honoring the stillness that you've created. Gently and slowly coming back into your space. Let one ear fall heavy to the mat, and then the other. There is no rush for you to return to the real world. But as you're ready, breathe in, reach the arms over the head. Point the toes, find a full body stretch, maybe a smile. And then draw one knee in and the other, taking your time. Roll over to a side that is calling you today. This is a transition to leave anything on your mat that you no longer need. But the opportunity to take anything, maybe that love and compassion with you as you go. Begin to press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Take your time. Be kind in your mind and in your body. Eyes can stay heavy or closed. Bring your palms together to touch in front of your heart. Take a breath in. Breath out. I'd like to end class today with you thinking of something, whether it's big or small, that brings you so much joy that when the thought of it pops into your head, you can't help but turn up the corners of your mouth and smile. I want you to notice how that feels in the body and take a big breath of it in. And exhale. Thank you for joining me. I'm so happy to be here and to share this practice with you. We'll bow forward. Namaste.